Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Steve with Real Progressives. I want to talk about this day that so many people are really hell-bent about destroying and taking down, using it as an opportunity to knock the idea of Independence Day. I thought that we might change the name of it for tonight, and I'm going to call it Interdependence Day, because that's exactly what today is to me. Today is Interdependence Day. Many moons ago, a bunch of people that took over the United States from the indigenous people broke free from England. You know the story. I want to talk about a new form of what today could be, as opposed to just looking over the other direction and bashing what was, because that's low-hanging fruit. Progressives, liberals, dissidents have been nailing this date forever. I mean, this is nothing new. Beating up Independence Day is just more of the same thing. It's probably the first time it was done, it was probably pretty edgy. But now you kind of get used to it. You kind of predict it's coming. So I want to talk about Interdependence Day. I mean, it's not an official day. It's not a day that anybody else will probably ever talk about again. But I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, I have a lot of ideas. I have an awful lot of ideas. And in Chateau de Grumbine, those ideas don't even reign supreme in my own household. You know what I'm saying? So as you look across the United States, you realize no matter how great your ideas are, no matter how smart or no matter how proven your ideas are, it requires everybody buying in. And that's painful, because we've got a media that absolutely, without question, teaches and preaches all the wrong stuff. And we have so many that are party-driven that don't hear anything about facts. They're not interested in progress. They're only interested in their party and whatever their party says and does. That's their version of fighting for something. But I'm here to tell you, outside of all that, the 99%, which we shouldn't even be using anymore. I mean, quite frankly, when you think about what the mean is, when you think about skewing and rounding off, the 100%, not the 99%, the 100% need to be looking honestly and thinking to themselves, what exactly is it that would make our world better? What would it do to make each of our lives better? And so rather than considering something that happened 200 years ago or whatever, or thinking about something that, we obviously know that white man came across the sea, and took over the freaking a country that was already discovered. It didn't require new discovery. It was already discovered. You know what I'm saying? So rather than looking at that, let's look right now instead at how we as a movement, we as a people, can consider how we can extend our lives, how we can make our lives better, not just subsistence, but how we can give each other self-actualization, how our lives can matter just a little bit more. And for me, thinking about it like that in terms of Interdependence Day, okay, I think to myself, this movement can't get anywhere without each other. It can't go anywhere without each other. But the problem with this movement, and this is a big problem, instead of aligning around truth, it aligns around personalities. It aligns around people that you like better than others. It aligns by people who are exciting and really, got all their little fun things, and they make you feel good and do whatever exciting things they do to make you get all excited, and that's your version of team. But the reality is that there is an underlying truth. All of us have needs. All of us have wants. All of us have desires. And whether it be directly associated with another human being, or whether it be just on our own. We have things that we want to make our lives more fulfilled, more enriched, higher quality. I mean, I get tired of waking up every morning just going, it's funny because I walk from a parking garage in Harrisburg, and I do the same walk every day. I go and I walk, and there's the same people I see every day at the same time every day with the same briefcase every day and the same well-coiffed hair and the same, whatever. And they're going to their little destination. They put their 8 hours in, and then I see them on the way out the door back out to the parking garage. And invariably, if I don't uncork a live stream, I think to myself, my God, I'm just walking through the rat race. I'm just literally walking through a maze, doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And that, my friends, it's not living. It's not what I feel we were called to do. Now, to each their own, right? Some people like that shit. I, however, think to myself, what if? What if we made things a little less competitive in terms of, how we have to overachieve just to survive? What if we decided that we were looking at the substance of people's character instead of the grade point average of their college transcripts? What if we made things just a little bit different? So as I think about Interdependence Day, I see people that struggled, and I watch the way that they come out of it. Some people come out of it saying, I never want another person to have to go through what I went through. Other people, however, come out of these situations and they say, well, I did it and it was character building, and so everybody should struggle too. That isn't how I roll. Full disclosure. I went to school. I went to college. And in high school, I graduated high school with 1.67 GPA. I was a total fuck up. Total fuck up. Couldn't get out of my own way. I went to college, dropped out of everything, flunked out of every school I went to. Went to friggin' Charles County Community College, got an F in friggin' piano. Went to Warwick Tech out at Salisbury because I couldn't get in Salisbury, and dropped out of every class I took. I was a drunk. Didn't care. Didn't fucking care. Somebody else's dream was for me to go to college. It wasn't my dream. It was their dream. And I was following their dream. Now, to be fair, I did get my shit together, and I did decide, for all those sons of bitches out there that looked down at me for being a drunk, for not having my shit together, who wanted to tell me about the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and how he was going to pull me out of this. And if I didn't accept it, I was going to hell. For all that, I decided that I was going to go back to school, and I was going to OD on college, and I was going to get so much school that I could walk around with a perpetual one-finger salute to all the haters, to all the people that had shit to talk. So I would fly all over the country doing my sales job. And instead of going out and enjoying the drinking and the dining, because I was sober now, I instead went back to my hotel room and cracked open my MBA book. I cracked open my technology management book. I cracked open my Master of Science books. I cracked open the 3 semesters of PhD books. And then I looked down at my student loans. I realized I had $127,000 worth of student loans. Holy fuck. You talk about revenge porn. This was revenge education. And what did it do? It gave me a freaking noose about 120,000 deep. Right? And for what? For what? So I could tell some assholes that looked down at me to go fuck themselves? So I could climb a ladder that was being constantly ripped out from underneath me? Folks, there is a better way. There is a better way. I am a huge proponent of education. I love education like you wouldn't believe. I really do. There's nothing I find more intriguing than reading something or learning something. Maybe I'm a nerd. I'm okay with that. But on Interdependence Day, if you will, I look around and I know everybody's not wired the same, you know? Some are hunters, some are gatherers, some are intellectuals, some are whatever, right? I mean, we all have different things. Some are artistic. You know, and I remember hearing conservatives back in the day bad-mouthing liberal arts education. They were bad-mouthing the people that were learning philosophy. They were bad-mouthing the people that learned, all these liberal arts type things. And you look back over the course of history, and the Greeks, they were all about philosophy. The people that these conservatives hearken back to, there they were. Philosophers, artists, artisans. Friggin', they were sitting there building sculptures. They were painting chapels. They were doing amazing things. They were writing concertos. They were doing things that are no longer valuable, or if they are valuable, they're only accessible to the very, very wealthy in this country anymore. The average person cannot pursue their calling in life because it's just too damn expensive to do it on your own. If I could, I would love to have Scarlet Begonias and Fire on the Mountain playing in the background to complement the frog ensemble I have, because I just want to be happy. Now, I don't know about you all, but the Grateful Dead makes me very, very happy, with or without any substances. And it just makes me feel good. And there's no money in saying the Grateful Dead makes me feel good. There's no money in it. But the reality is that we all have things that make us feel good, and we don't have time. We don't have time in our lives while we walk to and from the garage to the office, and we sit down and we push paper from one side of the desk to the other. We've lost sight of what it means. We've lost sight of what it means to be human beings. We've lost sight of what it means to care about one another. You want to see some awesome stuff? Seriously, I'm on a Dead kick like you wouldn't believe, so let's just go with it, okay? Watch some of the old Dead shows. Yeah, they're all fucked up. So what? They're all happy, and they're all dancing around, and they aren't caring. They're there, and everyone's accepting, and everyone's happy, and everyone's loving. Imagine this. Imagine every farm around America, all these plots of land, setting up just makeshift stages, and all of a sudden jam bands showing up out of nowhere. Build it and they will come, like, the baseball movie, Field of Dreams. Imagine jam bands coming all over the place, bringing the people together once again. And imagine reinvigorating your brain, reinvigorating your mind, being able to partner and bond and love and have good time. Imagine mobilizing using the arts. Imagine mobilizing using something that we all connect through, like music. I just keep thinking to myself, we're missing something. We're so sanitized. We're so sanitized. We're so robotic. That walk from the car to the office every day. I like the people I work with a lot. I really do. I mean, I love them. They're nice people. But you know something? I sometimes feel like I'm on Schindlers List as consultants, and I watch friends of mine get removed from the payroll, and I watch them let go. And I feel like we all have to sit there with our head bowed in silence as they get taken out. They lose their jobs, they move on. This is everywhere. I'm sure you've been around friends who have lost their jobs. That is absolutely the most painful experience next to losing a family member. You know, losing a relationship, whatever. Losing your job. People die from this stuff. People absolutely die from this stuff. And right now, we have no real safety nets for people. There is no cushion fall. If you didn't save up a lot of money, if you didn't save up a shit ton of money, you get laid off, you're done, and your family suffers. There's got to be a better way. I'm not an anarchist, I'll tell you that right now. I believe in a good, strong central government. But I'll tell you one thing. I really, really, really love people. And I want to see people survive, and I want to see them thrive. And I'm tired. You know, when I was going through my stuff, I lost a 17-year career a few years back in 2009, right when the big crash happened. And one of the things that happened to me that was so devastating, my tractor didn't work, my car didn't work, my grass was 6 foot high. I could have been dead and bloated laying on the floor in my house, and not one of my neighbors drove by and knocked on the door to see if I was okay. Not one. That devastated me. My family's in Washington, D.C. I'm out here in central Pennsylvania. I could have been stinking like a rose, you know? Nobody checked, nobody nothing. That's not community, folks. That's not the way it should be. But that's how it is. That's how it's become. Today, I consider to be Interdependence Day. Because when you start considering policies and programs that our government can support, and you start thinking about what it is that we as a people need, it shouldn't be okay to walk by someone who's begging for money with a cup. That shouldn't be the way it is. It shouldn't be somebody sleeping in a cardboard box. It shouldn't be somebody digging through a trash can to get a meal. And families shouldn't be breaking up because hardships coming from finances. You know, I think there's an awful lot of assholes in the world that were created by austerity. Because when you're struggling and you can't make ends meet and you feel hopeless, you don't act the way you would if your basic needs were tended to. You would be patient. You could relax. You could actually stretch out and hug someone without feeling rushed to do it. I mean, am I making sense? I feel like sometimes I'm off in some other foreign world when I talk. But I promise you, I feel this in the core of my soul. America, you know, they say, let's make America great again. You know, America has had moments of greatness. It has not been universally great for everybody, though. And if you want to make America great, maybe for the first time, we should be able to do that. We should be able to do that. You know, I think to myself, there was a lot of problems that occurred back in the day. A lot of horrible injustices have occurred throughout time. Think about the death of Emmett Till. And you think about the lynchings. And you think about all the slave labor. Not just African Americans. We're talking about Chinese. We're talking about internment camps with the Japanese. We're talking about the way we treat Muslims today. And you know what? There's a lot of shame to be had for that. But you know what is a more excellent way of fixing that? Rather than pummeling people and making them feel like shit, we could just love people. And I mean this. This is truly not like, hey, peace and love, folks. I'm just telling you point blank. People make a lot of mistakes. Think about this. If you understand that our government has cut spending in such ways that many people are hurting and act in a way that would not be the way they would act if their basic needs were tended to. If we stop piling on regular people who are living hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck, that are in between jobs, that have no hope, that sit there and hide in the bedroom and turn the lights out and they don't talk to anyone, that slit their wrists, that sit there and shut the garage door and turn the car on and suck the fumes, that sit there and hang themselves in the basement when nobody's looking, that take a bunch of pharmaceutical drugs to go to sleep and never return. That is all preventable. Every single bit of it is preventable. So on Interdependence Day, for us, we need to understand some basics. We've got to get our head out of our ass and stop repeating the lines of our oppressors. You all know me. I talk about economics round the clock. And there's a reason for that. This entire discussion tonight so far had an underlying factor of economic justice for all races, creeds, and colors and genders. For all people, generational poverty is a political decision. It is not because people are stupid or genetically inferior or somehow or another lazy or worthless. Everybody's fight is everybody's fight, even if you don't realize it, because we are interdependent on one another. This is very important to me. This is my political ethos. This is what drives me to do what I do every single day. I am 1/8 of an inch away from tears. I am constantly this close to tears because of the pain that I've suffered and the pain that I know others suffer through. And I'm not talking about pain like mine, which was, quite frankly, it was more than I could stand, but that doesn't mean that others don't have it worse, because they do. They do. And when you know that you've taken care of your college education, and you know that you've taken care of putting money into a 401k and all the things they tell you to do, and your life still sucks, your life is still difficult. I mean, difficult in a way that is unnecessarily so. How much worse is it for those who don't have access to means, who don't have entree into professional lives, who don't have the ability to break away from raising small kids because dad's in jail and they've got to work 3 jobs? Poverty is a political decision, and so is the harsh reality of the way we treat each other within the workplace. Folks, I advocate for a federal job guarantee so no one ever is in destitution. I advocate for expanded Social Security so that people that don't choose the voluntary federal job guarantee have access to Social Security so that they too can make life choices that affirm their values. But we don't have critical mass. We don't. Folks, as we enter into 2018 and 2020, we're still left with really bad candidates. We're left with people that are a little bit better than others, but they don't know economics, so they're going to say a lot of the right things, but their follow-through will be very, very poor. Their inability to see a larger reality, their inability to sell a different narrative. Many of you all will get excited about Tulsi Gabbard. Many of you will get excited and hope that Bernie Sanders runs again. Many of you will be pushing a green candidate of some variety or another. Many of you don't care, but you'll follow whatever. Folks, I'm here to tell you, I don't want to live in a society that is the way it is now, where it's just harsh and cruel. And even when people say the right things, the follow-through is nothing because they don't understand the economics. They still tell you that our deficits are too high, our debt is too high, all these things are too high, that we can't possibly make your life better. And so they give you breadcrumbs and say, be satisfied. Aren't we great? Look at us. Look at what we just did. Folks, there's a lot of people that would break their arm patting themselves on the back for Fight for 15. I'm here to tell you $15 an hour is not a living wage. So a guy falls into a creek, and the creek is running really, really fast. And his foot gets stuck in a rock, and he can't get his leg unwedged. And the water line is right here. That's $15 an hour, my friends. Here's $16 an hour. Here's $17 an hour. Here's $25 an hour. Now they can breathe. Now they can think. Now they can buy time. Now they can make some different choices for their lives. But this Fight for 15 crap, don't pat yourself on the back. People are still not living. People are still not able to survive on 15 an hour. Don't you dare get complacent. Don't you dare allow people to suffer that way without standing up and fighting. Folks, it's all there for us. The tools are there for us. This is about interdependence on one another. When you see someone else struggling, that should be your struggle too. And when you see politicians fanning the flames of debt and deficits, don't give them 5 minutes of your time unless you're there to teach them about economics. Because that is the reason why all these things are fucked up. It's not because people don't have good ideas. Shit, we got good ideas out the wazoo. It's not because people don't like being a progressive. People love being a progressive. It's not because people don't want better for their kids. They just don't know how to get it. And so rather than do anything, we march in place and we walk from the parking garage to the office again. And we see the same guy with the same tie on every day. And we keep going through the motions. Do you know I've got at least 30 articles that I want to write in my head right now, and I can't find the time to write them? Do you know that I have things that I really want to do that I feel like would benefit my family and society in a major way that I just don't have time to do? And the flip side to that is, if I did have time to do it, then we would be starving. I wouldn't have a job. And I need my job, and I love my job. But there is a better way. And it's up to you all to push away the conspiracies, fight through the nonsense, and stand tall for economic truth, so we have the foundation to unfuck America. That's my message on this Interdependence Day. Have a good one, everybody. I love you all. Have a good one. Bye-bye.